I bought a jacket last Tuesday that I didn't need. I want to be specific about this because the specificity is where the truth lives. I was lying on my couch at 11:40 p.m., not shopping, not browsing, not looking for a jacket. I was watching a video about woodworking, something I've never done and will probably never do, and an ad appeared between segments. A man about my age, my build, my skin tone, standing in what looked like a Chicago street in autumn, wearing a jacket that looked exactly like something I'd pick for myself. Not flashy, not designer, just right. The kind of jacket that made me think, without any conscious decision, that's a jacket for someone like me. I clicked. I didn't decide to click. My thumb moved before the thought formed. That distinction matters, and I'll explain why in a minute. The landing page knew my size. Not because ID told it, because the cookies from a clothing site ID browsed 3 weeks ago had already communicated my measurements to an ad network that sold that data to this brand. The page pre-selected medium. My preferred color, dark olive, was the first option displayed. 2 clicks. Card on file from a previous purchase on a connected platform. $189 gone. Total time from ad to purchase, 47 seconds. The jacket arrived Thursday. I tried it on. It's fine. It fits. It looks like the ad. I don't dislike it, but I didn't need it. I have a jacket almost identical to it in my closet. I wasn't cold. I wasn't replacing anything. I wasn't shopping. I was lying on my couch watching a man build a bookshelf, and an algorithm decided it was time for me to spend $189. And I did. In 47 seconds. Without a single moment of what any reasonable person would call a decision. That's what I want to talk about today. Not budgeting, not saving, not investing. Something that comes before all of that. Something that's quietly undermining every financial decision you think you're making. The fact that you are being sold to by a machine that knows you better than you know yourself. And it never sleeps. And it's getting better every single day. Let me tell you what the machine knows about you. Because I think most people dramatically underestimate this. If you have a smartphone, and you do, because you're watching this, there is a profile of you that exists across multiple advertising platforms. You've never seen it. You didn't create it. You can't fully access it. But it's there, and it's detailed in a way that would make you uncomfortable if you saw it printed out. It knows your age, gender, approximate income bracket, and location. Not your city, your block. It knows where you work based on where your phone sits for 8 hours every weekday. It knows where you live based on where it sits overnight. It knows the route between those two places. It knows what you browse, what you search for, what you almost bought but didn't. That's a critical one. The abandoned cart. The product page you visited 3 times without purchasing. The algorithm reads hesitation as interest. It doesn't forget. It waits. It knows what time you're most likely to make a purchase. For most people, that's between 9 p.m. and midnight. Not a coincidence that I bought that jacket at 11:40 p.m. That's the window. The defenses are down. The willpower is depleted. The loneliness or boredom or end-of-day fatigue has settled in. The algorithm knows this window exists, and it saves its best ammunition for it. It knows your emotional patterns, not explicitly. It doesn't read your diary, but it correlates behavior. It knows that after you Google certain symptoms, you're more likely to buy comfort items. It knows that after you browse job listings, you're more likely to buy things that signal success. It knows that after you visit social media and scroll through images of other people's lives, you're more likely to buy things that close the gap between your life and theirs. I want you to sit with that for a second, because it sounds like science fiction, but it's just science. Advertising science, data science, behavioral science applied at a scale that no human salesperson could ever achieve. There is no salesperson on earth who could know that at 11:40 p.m. on a Tuesday, a 41-year-old man in Chicago who had been feeling restless and hadn't bought clothing in 3 weeks would respond to a dark olive jacket modeled by someone who looked like him on a street that looked like his neighborhood. No human could know that. The algorithm knew it, and it was right. $189, 47 seconds, no decision made, just a thumb and a dopamine response and a card on file. I started researching this after the jacket, not because $189 is going to ruin me financially, but because the ease of it scared me. The complete absence of friction between seeing and spending. The realization that I hadn't made a choice. I'd been prompted, and I'd responded, like a lab rat pressing a lever. And what I found in the research scared me more than the jacket. The average American sees between 4,000 and 10,000 advertisements per day. That number sounds impossible until you count every social media scroll, every YouTube pre-roll, every banner, every sponsored post, every email, every push notification from an app you downloaded once, every billboard on the drive, every product placement in the show you're watching. You don't consciously process most of them. You don't need to. They're not targeting your conscious mind. They're targeting something deeper. The pattern recognition system that operates below awareness and makes associations you never agreed to. See that jacket 4 times across 3 platforms over 8 days. You don't remember seeing it, but your brain has filed it. When it appears for the 5th time in the right context, at the right moment, it doesn't feel like an ad. It feels like a thought, like something you wanted, like your idea. That's the goal, not to sell you the product, to make you believe you wanted it all along. There's a term in neuroscience for this. It's called the mere exposure effect. The more times you encounter something, even without conscious awareness, the more favorably you evaluate it. Not because it's good, because it's familiar. And the human brain confuses familiarity with preference at a level so deep that you can't override it through willpower. The algorithm doesn't need you to like the ad. It needs you to see it repeatedly across platforms in different contexts until the product migrates from thing I've never heard of to thing that feels like it belongs in my life. By the time you click buy now, you've been pre-sold. The decision happened over days or weeks of exposure you didn't notice. The click is just the receipt. Let me tell you about someone who showed me how deep this goes. A woman I know, I'll call her Brianna, is 31, makes $67,000 as marketing coordinator. Ironic, given what I'm about to tell you, she works in marketing and still got caught. Brianna tracked every impulse purchase she made over 90 days, not planned purchases, not groceries or gas or bills, specifically the unplanned ones, the things she bought that she wasn't intending to buy when she woke up that morning. 90 days. She logged everyone, the item, the price, where she saw it, what she was doing when she saw it, what time it was, how she felt. In 90 days, Brianna made 43 impulse purchases, totaling $2,200. 43 times in 3 months, she bought something she hadn't planned to buy, $2,740 in a quarter. Annualized, that's nearly $11,000 a year. $11,000 a year in purchases triggered not by need, not by planning, not by any conscious financial decision, but by an algorithm that placed the right product in front of her at the right moment in the right emotional state. But here's what made Brianna's experiment genuinely revelatory. It wasn't the total, though the total is staggering. It was the patterns. 92% of her impulse purchases happened on her phone. Not in a store, not at a mall, on a device she carries in her pocket 17 hours a day. 78% happened between 8 p.m. and midnight, the fatigue window, the low willpower window. The M on the couch, and I deserve something nice window. 65% were triggered by social media, either an ad directly or a post by someone she follows who was wearing, using, eating, or displaying the product. Not always a sponsored post. Sometimes just a person she admires living a life that included this thing. And the thing felt like a bridge between Brianna's life and that person's life. And the most disturbing pattern, 84% of the items she bought were things she had been shown at least 3 times before purchasing. She didn't remember seeing them. She went back and checked her ad history, her browsing data, her email promotions. The exposure trail was there every time. 3, 4, sometimes 7 or 8 touch points before the purchase. She thought she was choosing. She was being guided. Now, $11,000 a year. Let me put that in context. $11. Vows on a year invested at 8% average returns for 30 years. Approximately $1.25 million. Brianna is 31. If she redirected her algorithm-driven impulse spending into investments and didn't change anything else about her life, she'd retire with an additional $1.25 million. The algorithm is costing her $1.25 million. Not in obvious ways, not in big dramatic purchases, in 47 candles and $63 skincare sets and 29 Sal kitchen gadgets and $189 jackets at 11:40 on a Tuesday night. Death by 1,000 clicks. I want to go deeper into the mechanism, because I think understanding it is the only defense against it. The platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, all of them, are not in the content business. I know they look like they are. I know they feel like entertainment apps. They are not. They're in the attention business. They sell your attention to advertisers. Every feature, every algorithm, every design choice exists to maximize the amount of time you spend on the platform, because more time means more ad impressions, and more ad impressions means more revenue. The infinite scroll, the autoplay, the notification that pulls you back when you've been away too long, the suggested for you feed, that's eerily accurate. None of it is designed for your benefit. All of it is designed to keep your eyes on the screen, so those eyes can be sold. And once your eyes are sold, the advertisers take over. And the advertisers have access to every data point I described earlier. Your location, your behavior, your emotional state, your browsing history, your purchase patterns. They know when you're vulnerable, and they advertise into the vulnerability. Stressed after work? Here's a comfort purchase. Scrolling at midnight because you can't sleep? Here is something that promises to make your life a little better. Just saw your friend's vacation photos? Here is a deal on luggage. Browsing fitness content because you feel bad about your body? Here is supplements. Here is workout gear. Here is the program that'll fix you for $97. The algorithm doesn't care about you. It cares about the transaction, and it has mapped the emotional pathways between your feelings and your wallet with a precision that no human manipulator in history has ever achieved. I talked to a friend who works in digital advertising. I won't use his name because he still works in the industry, but what he told me over drinks one night has fundamentally changed how I interact with my phone. He said, "Marcus, we don't target demographics anymore. That's old advertising. We target moments. We identify the micro moments in a person's day when they're most susceptible to a purchase trigger, and we fill those moments with product." Micro moments, that's the term. Not people aged 25 to 40 who like outdoor gear. That's 2010 advertising. The 2026 version is a person who just opened Instagram for the 3rd time in an hour, whose browsing pattern indicates boredom or loneliness, who has previously engaged with ads in this product category, and whose purchase history suggests a price sensitivity ceiling of around $200. That's not an audience. That's a target. And the targeting happens in real time, thousands of times per second, across billions of users simultaneously. He told me something else that I haven't stopped thinking about. He said, the best ad is the one that doesn't feel like an ad. Our highest performing campaigns are the ones where the user believes the purchase was their own idea. That's the goal, not to sell. To implant the desire and let the user believe they generated it. To implant the desire and let the user believe they generated it. I want you to think about your last 5 purchases that weren't groceries or bills. The last 5 discretionary purchases. How many of them were your idea, genuinely, originally, from scratch your idea? And how many of them were placed in your path by an algorithm that had profiled your behavior and calculated the exact intersection of product, price, timing, and emotional state that would result in a click? You might not be able to tell the difference. That's the point. The best manipulation is indistinguishable from free will. Here is where I want to talk about what this does beyond the individual purchase. Because a $189 for a jacket isn't going to destroy anyone's financial life. Neither is a $47 candle. The danger isn't any single purchase. The danger is the pattern. The daily erosion of financial agency. The slow transfer of your spending decisions from your conscious mind to an algorithm that is optimized for someone else's revenue. When Brianna spends $11,000 a year on impulse purchases, she doesn't experience it as $11,000. She experiences it as 43 small, forgettable, individually insignificant moments. The spending doesn't register as a pattern because each instance is too small to trigger alarm. But the algorithm sees the pattern. The algorithm is the pattern. It's designed to generate exactly this: frequent, small, emotionally driven purchases that individually feel like nothing and collectively consume a significant percentage of your discretionary income. It's the payment stack from episode 11. Except instead of monthly subscriptions you forgot about, it's individual purchases you barely remember making. Different mechanism, same result. Money leaving your life without your conscious participation. So what do? How do you fight a machine that knows your emotional vulnerabilities better than your therapist and has unlimited budget and zero ethical constraints? It'll tell you what I've done. It's not perfect. I still bought the jacket. But the frequency has dropped dramatically, and I think the approach is worth sharing. First, and this sounds almost too simple, but it's the most powerful thing I've done, I added a 24-hour rule to my phone. When I see something I want to buy, anything, any price, I don't buy it. I screenshot it. I put my phone down. I wait 24 hours. That's it. One rule, 24 hours. The results are staggering. I'd estimate that 70% of the things I screenshot never get purchased. By the next day, the desire is gone. Not suppressed, gone. Because it was never real desire in the first place. It was manufactured urgency that has a half-life of about 3 hours. The algorithm is optimized for impulse. It needs you to act in the moment, in the 47 seconds between seeing and buying. 24 hours is an eternity in algorithmic time. It breaks the spell. It gives your prefrontal cortex time to override your limbic system. It lets the adult in your brain catch up to the child who just saw something shiny. 70%. That means 70% of what I thought I wanted, I didn't actually want. I wanted it for 47 seconds because a machine told me to want it. Second, I turned off notifications for every shopping app and most social media. Every push notification is a hook. Your cart is waiting. This item is almost sold out. Price drop on something you viewed. Each one is a carefully engineered re-engagement trigger designed to pull you back into the purchase funnel. The apps frame this as helpful. We're letting you know about a deal. They're not helping you. They're retargeting you. The notification exists because you didn't buy the first time, and the algorithm is trying again. I turned them all off. Every single one. My phone is quiet now in a way that felt strange for about a week, and then felt like freedom. Third, and this one changed my relationship with social media entirely. I started asking one question every time I felt the urge to buy something I saw online. Would I want this if I hadn't seen it? Not do I want this? That question is rigged. The algorithm already made you want it. Of course you want it. The desire is real. It's just not yours. The question is, would the desire exist if the exposure hadn't happened? If nobody had shown me this jacket, would I have woken up thinking I need a dark olive jacket? If nobody had placed this skincare set in my feed, would I have gone looking for it? Almost always. The answer is no. The desire was created by the exposure. Remove the exposure, and the desire doesn't exist, which means it was never about the product. It was about the prompt. Brianna started using all three of these strategies after her 90-day experiment. The 24-hour rule, the notification purge, the would I want this if I hadn't seen it question. 6 months later, she ran the experiment again. Same rules, same tracking, impulse purchases in 90 days, 11. Down from 43, total spent $430, down from $2,740. $2,310 saved in 1 quarter, $9,240 a year, by changing nothing about her income, her budget, her lifestyle, her job, by simply placing a barrier between the algorithm's prompt and her wallet's response. $9,240 a year invested for 30 years at 8%, approximately $1.05 million. She didn't earn $1 million. She stopped an algorithm from taking it. Here's where I want to land. Because this isn't really about jackets or candles or skincare. It's about something fundamental that I think defines this era of personal finance in a way that no previous generation had to deal with. Your grandparents faced one salesperson at a time, a human being in a store who could be ignored or avoided or told no. Your parents faced television ads, powerful but broadcast. The same ad for everyone, no personalization, no real-time behavioral targeting, no purchase button 3 inches from your thumb. You face an artificial intelligence that has been fed your behavioral data for years, that operates 24 hours a day, that adapts in real time to your emotional state, that can deliver a personalized sales pitch directly to your hand at the exact moment. You're most likely to say yes, this is not a fair fight, and treating it like one, pretending that willpower is enough, that discipline is the answer, that you just need to be smarter about spending, is like telling someone to outrun a car. You can't beat the algorithm with willpower. You beat it with structure. The 24-hour rule is structure. The notification purge is structure. The would I want this question is structure. They work not because they make you stronger, but because they make the algorithm weaker. They introduce friction into a system that was designed to be frictionless. And friction is the only thing that gives your conscious mind time to catch up. Every dollar you spend on something the algorithm told you to want is a dollar that can't compound for 40 years. Every 47-second purchase is a decision you didn't make, being charged to an account you do own. Every night you fall asleep after scrolling and clicking and buying, you wake up a little poorer, and the machine wakes up a little smarter. The algorithm doesn't need you to be stupid. It needs you to be tired and available, and holding your phone at 11:40 p.m. with a card on file and a thumb that moves faster than your thoughts. Don't fight the algorithm with discipline. Fight it with distance. Put the phone down. Wait 24 hours. Ask if the desire is yours. Because the most expensive thing you own isn't your house or your car. It's the device in your pocket that's selling your attention to the highest bidder and converting your emotions into transactions. And right now while you're watching this, it's waiting for you to finish so it can show you the next ad. Don't let it. If this one made you look at your phone differently, share it with the person who doesn't know where their money goes, with the person who has 12 packages on their porch and can't remember ordering half of them, with anyone who's ever said, "I don't know why I bought this." You do know why. You just met the machine that made the decision for you. Next one's coming. We're not done yet.